You know that feeling, right? When you're looking at all the financial advice out there, and it just feels so prescriptive.
Oh, definitely. Like there's one single right way you're supposed to handle your money.
Yeah, handed down by some guru, with this super rigid step-by-step plan.
It's a feeling I hear about a lot. The financial world, it can definitely push that very rule-based kind of one-size-fits-all approach.
Which just feels totally disconnected from, well, your actual life, doesn't it?
Exactly. Doesn't account for the messy reality.
Right. And that's precisely why we're doing this deep dive today. We're looking at a book that really flips that whole idea around.
Okay.
It's called How I Invest My Money. It's by Brian Portnoy and Joshua Brown.
Ah, yes, I know that one.
And forget those rigid rules. Forget searching for some, I don't know, secret formula. This book basically throws open the doors. It lets you listen in on some really personal chats with, I think, 25 different financial pros.
Yeah, 25. And what's so interesting, for the listener is that Portnoy and Brown, they don't just skim the surface. They're not just talking asset allocation or market timing.
Yeah.
They go much, much deeper. They ask these experts how they actually invest their own money.
It's a real behind-the-scenes look, isn't it? It goes way beyond your typical kind of theoretical financial planning talk.
Totally. And what comes out of it, as you'll hear, is this collection of remarkably raw and honest stories.
Yeah, they really are. These aren't just abstract theories. These are like real-life accounts. They show how values, your sense of who you are, family, even like past traumas and future dreams, how all that stuff shapes the financial choices of people who, we often think have all the answers.
Right. The experts.
And we're not just looking at the how of investing here.
Yeah.
We're really digging deep into the why behind it. For them, and hopefully for you listening.
And that really challenges the standard narrative, doesn't it?
It does.
We often see this very polished image in finance, right? But this book, it kind of bravely admits there's this gap.
A gap between what?
Between the advice you might normally hear and the sometimes messy reality of lived experience, including fears and, even mistakes. Even for the pros.
Yeah, the mistakes part is key.
And it really tries to bridge that gap for you, the listener.
And it's just so refreshing because it highlights something really important for you to think about.
Which is?
Well, the book kind of suggests that the real value, the real currency in investing, it isn't just about stacking up dollars.
Okay.
It touches on something, I think, much more profound. Your own sense of meaning, your intentions, and, ultimately your identity.
Meaning and identity through investing. Interesting.
So, okay, let's maybe unpack this a bit. Let's look at some of the personal stories they share in the book. Take Joshua Brown, for instance.
Ah, yes, Josh Brown. His experience is a really powerful example for you, I think. It shows how these big life events can just fundamentally reshape your financial priorities. Well, before he became a father, his main focus, like, a lot of people in the industry, was growth, performance, getting the best returns.
The standard metrics, right?
Exactly, the traditional measures of investment success.
But then his daughter arrived.
And boom, everything shifted for him. Suddenly, those charts, those aggressive growth strategies, they took a back seat.
To what?
To a whole new set of priorities, things I'm sure a lot of parents listening can relate to. Protection, safety, stability for his family.
Right. It wasn't just about making more money anymore.
No, it was about ensuring peace of mind, security, for the people he loved most. You might find yourself thinking about similar shifts in your own life as things change,
Absolutely. It highlights this crucial point, doesn't it? Our values aren't static.
Not at all. They evolve. And as they do, our financial strategies probably should too.
Yeah.
Adapt right along with them.
And Brown's shift, it wasn't just some logical portfolio tweak, was it?
No, not according to the book. It describes it as having like a spiritual dimension, a deep alignment with his profound new responsibilities as a dad.
Wow. A spiritual dimension to finance. Have you ever felt something like that with your own money decisions? It's a powerful idea.
It is. Which actually leads us nicely into Brian Portnoy's concept. He talks about true wealth.
Okay, Brian Portnoy, the co-author, what's his definition?
It's quite simple, actually. He defines it as the ability to underwrite a meaningful life.
I love that. Underwrite a meaningful life. That really resonates. It's not about hitting some random number, is it?
Not at all. It's about having the resources, the means to support what truly gives your life value and purpose, whatever that looks like for you.
And his own investment philosophy mirrors this.
Exactly. As you'll see reading it, he prioritizes simplicity, alignment, making sure his investments match up with what matters most to him personally.
Like what?
Things like security, sure, but also freedom, passion, even just rest. It's not about that relentless chase for the absolute highest returns possible.
It's more about building a life that feels whole.
Yeah, constructing a life that feels complete. And his investments are just a tool to help achieve that, which I think will really connect with you if you're looking for financial knowledge that feels, genuinely relevant to your aspirations and the kind of life you actually want to build.
Definitely. Okay, who else? Carl Richards. His story is quite different.
Ah, Carl Richards, the sketch guy. His journey is fascinating too, going from complexity towards simplicity.
And he's incredibly open about it, isn't he?
Yeah.
Which might be really helpful for you listening to hear. He talks about getting caught up in investment hype.
Oh, yeah. And making mistakes along the way. It's a very relatable, very human story.
So what's the takeaway there?
Well, Richard's story is just such a valuable reminder for you. It shows that even people who work in finance, they're not immune. They can get sucked into the pressure, the allure of complicated strategies.
We all can, I guess.
But his key realization, and this is such a powerful insight if you're feeling overwhelmed by it all, was that the more intricate his investment approach became.
Yeah. The more stress it created in his life.
Yeah.
Does that sound familiar at all from your own experience?
Oh, absolutely. Information overload is real.
Yeah.
So what was the turning point for him?
Embracing simplicity.
Yeah.
That was the key lesson for you, perhaps. He deliberately stripped back the complexity.
And that helped.
He found more peace, more clarity in his financial life. It's a really potent lesson for you if you ever feel buried under that mountain of financial information out there.
Right. Sometimes, as he found out, the smartest thing you can do is just make things simpler.
Exactly. Less is more, sometimes.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Dezard Yarnway. His perspective adds another really crucial layer for you to consider, I think.
Yeah, Dessart's story is powerful. His
Yep.
background, it really instilled in him this profound sense of responsibility, didn't it?
It really did. And you see how that deeply influences how he approaches investing his money. It makes you think, what aspects of your own background shape how you see money?
That's a great question. For him, growing up with a very real understanding of scarcity, it just profoundly shaped his view. So he invests differently.
He invests not just for his own benefit, which, is totally fine,
Sure.
but he also has the strong focus on building a legacy and on empowering communities that historically have been overlooked or underserved.
Right. It makes you really consider the wider impact of your financial choices beyond just your own account balance.
Absolutely. And what's particularly striking about Yarnway's approach, something really interesting for you to think about, is how he views money.
How so?
Not just as, a way to accumulate personal wealth. He sees it as a lifeline, even as an act of love.
Wow. An act of love.
Yeah, reflecting his deep commitment to serving and uplifting others. It really poses an interesting question for you, doesn't it? Can your own investments actually reflect your values in that kind of way?
That's deep. Okay, and then there's Tyrone Ross Jr. His story is also incredibly powerful for you to hear.
Oh, Tyrone's journey is something else, overcoming huge hardship, right? Didn't he train for the Olympics without electricity?
Yeah, it's an incredible background, and it absolutely shapes his deeply purposeful approach to investing today.
You can see how it would. For Tyrone, every single dollar he invests is just loaded with intention. You really see that when you read his chapter.
Intention towards what?
His investments are driven by this desire to create real, tangible change, to break cycles of injustice. It's a direct result of his own life experiences.
It really makes you think about investing as way more than just numbers moving on a screen, doesn't it?
Totally. It's like he says in the book, I think this quote really sticks with you, every dollar is a statement.
Every dollar is a statement. That's powerful.
It's such a potent reminder for you, I think, that your own financial decisions can be a direct reflection of your values, your commitment to making the world better in whatever way feels authentic to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's switch again. Debbie Freeman offers a different but equally important perspective for you.
Right, Debbie. Her role is more like the financial anchor for her family, so her primary focus is naturally on stability, protection.
A feeling of responsibility that maybe you can relate to in your own family.
Exactly. Her strategy is very thoughtful, very grounded. She prioritizes creating these strong safety nets.
Rather than chasing trends.
Right, not chasing fleeting trends or, the next big hot stock. Her story really underscores the quiet power of investments that just provide security, the ones that hold everything together, often without much fanfare.
It highlights that sometimes the investments that let you sleep soundly at night, those are actually the most powerful ones for you.
Couldn't agree more. Peace of mind is incredibly valuable.
Okay, what about Liana Rura? Her approach is interesting because it highlights how very individual life choices affect finances.
Yes, Leanna's perspective is fascinating for you because her decision, for instance, not to have children, it really shapes her financial planning in a unique way.
How so?
Well, her investments prioritize things like autonomy, flexibility, and really the pursuit of joy in her own life.
It's a powerful reminder, isn't it?
Yeah,
That there's no single right way to plan for the future.
absolutely. And that investing purely for yourself, for your own happiness and well-being, is a completely valid and frankly powerful approach. It really underscores just how personal this whole endeavor is.
Totally. And Morgan Housel, he brings a really insightful, almost philosophical lens, doesn't he?
Yeah, Morgan Housel, I think you'll find his take really valuable. He really emphasizes the fundamentally emotional nature of financial decisions
And risk tolerance.
and how deeply personal your own risk tolerance truly is. He gets that logic alone just isn't enough to navigate the ups and downs, the volatility.
Which we all know happens.
Oh, yeah. So his own portfolio, he says, is intentionally built to align with his own psychology,
Meaning what?
meaning he prioritizes being able to stay calm during that volatility, staying invested. That's more important to him than the constant pressure to always be right or chase the highest peak.
That's such a crucial lesson for you. If you ever feel that anxiety when markets fluctuate, understanding your own emotional triggers is just key.
Absolutely. Knowing yourself is half the battle.
And Douglas Boneparth, he offers a really refreshing perspective for you on what the ultimate goal of investing can be.
Right, Douglas. For him, it's fundamentally about creating more time, more presence
For family.
for his family, yeah, and for his own personal well-being. It makes you ask yourself, what would you do with more time?
That's a good question.
He really views his investments as a tool to reclaim time, basically, to be more present as a husband, as a father.
His story reminds us that the real return on investment, it isn't always just dollars and cents, is it?
Not at all. It can be measured in moments. In the quality of our relationships. It really makes you consider what the real return on your own investments might actually be. Is it just the number or something else?
Yeah, something deeper.
That's
So as we kind of look back over all these diverse stories, these different approaches, some common threads start to pop out, don't they? And they're really important for you listening.
definitely. I think one of the biggest is just the overriding importance of intention in investing.
Attention. Explain that.
Well, none of these experts are just blindly following some generic advice, right? They are all consciously, deliberately customizing their strategies
To fit.
to fit their unique lives, their core values, their individual goals. It's deeply personal for every single one of them.
Yeah. And it really reinforces that idea for you, doesn't it? That the quote-unquote best investment strategy. It isn't some magic formula you need to find.
No, it's the one that you will actually stick with, the one that feels genuinely authentic to who you are and what you actually believe in.
Right, the one you won't ditch when things get scary.
Exactly. Sustainability comes from authenticity, in a way.
And the book also seems to subtly challenge something else.
What's that?
The tendency towards overcomplication we see so often in finance.
Yeah.
That feels like a valuable takeaway for you, too.
Oh, absolutely. Many of the contributors, like Carl Richards we mentioned, they found greater peace of mind and sometimes even better results by deliberately simplifying their investment strategies.
So they realized, and this is a great lesson for you, that simplicity isn't like a sign of weakness or lack of sophistication.
Not at all. It can be incredibly powerful and ultimately probably more sustainable for you in the long run.
It's about really understanding what you own.
And why? Critically, why you own it, rather than just chasing every little trend or bit of noise that comes along.
That makes a lot of sense.
Another key takeaway for you, I think, is that recurring emphasis on using money to live, to enjoy life now in the present.
Not just hoarding it all for some far-off retirement date.
Exactly. Not just endlessly deferring all happiness and fulfillment. These people, they actively invest in experiences, in supporting the people they love, in pursuing passions and interests today. It's about finding that balance.
That balance is tricky, though.
It is, but it's important. And the book, thankfully, doesn't shy away from the emotional side of investing either.
Which can be a real roller coaster,
Yeah.
right? Even for the pros.
Absolutely. These experts, they openly share their own experiences with fear, with moments of doubt, and yeah, even with mistakes they've made. Big ones sometimes.
And that's actually quite comforting for you to hear, isn't it?
I think so. It's a powerful reminder for you that even the people who seem to have it all figured out, they're still human.
Right.
And often it's those very experiences, those struggles and mistakes that lead to the most valuable wisdom.
So it sounds like personal finance isn't just about spreadsheets then.
Not at all. This brings us to this really important realization for you. It's truly an art.
An art.
Yeah, specifically the art of consciously aligning your financial resources, your money, with your deepest values and your overall mission or purpose in life.
Aligning money with values and mission. That feels important.
And a theme that runs through all these stories, which should really encourage you, is the importance of transparency.
How so?
Well, these experts are sharing their vulnerabilities, right? Their thought processes. They're effectively encouraging all of us, you included, to make money less of a taboo.
To make it a topic of open conversation.
Exactly. Rather than this source of secrecy or, potential shame, it's about breaking down those barriers for yourself and maybe with the people around you too.
Less secrecy, more conversation. I like that.
Ultimately, I think how I invest my money strongly encourages you, the listener, to define your own path, your own unique financial path.
It suggests your money should be working for you.
Yes. It should become like a trusted ally in building the specific kind of life you truly desire. Rather than being this constant source of stress or anxiety, it's about taking control and making it serve your goals.
Because at its core, as we've heard through these stories, the book seems to argue that true wealth, it isn't just about mastering market complexities.
No, it's fundamentally about mastering yourself.
Mastering yourself.
Yeah. Deeply understanding your own values, knowing your own psychological tendencies around risk and reward, and getting clear on your own personal vision for what makes a truly meaningful life for you.
That really shifts the focus for you, doesn't it?
Completely. It moves away from that often overwhelming question, what should I do with my money?
Which feels impossible to answer sometimes.
Right. And it moves towards a far more profound and I think ultimately more empowering question. What truly matters to me?
That feels like the real key.
That, the book suggests, is the real key to forging a genuinely transformative and fulfilling relationship with your finances, answering that question for yourself.
And in the end, the book leaves us, and hopefully leaves you listening, with this really powerful, resonant idea. True wealth is alignment.
Alignment.
Yeah. It's about living a life that authentically reflects who you are, deep down. And when you see it that way, investing can maybe feel less like a chore.
And more like coming home.
Exactly. More like coming home, making your financial life feel like a natural extension of who you are.
So as you take a moment now, reflecting on all this, maybe really consider that central question the book poses directly to you. What kind of life do you truly want to build? How do your own deepest values, your most cherished hopes, how do they connect or maybe disconnect with the financial decisions you're making right now?
That's the question to sit with.
It really is.
Because ultimately, the most valuable investment you can ever make, it probably isn't just the one promising the highest dollar return.
Probably not.
It's the investment that aligns most perfectly with your true self. The one that actively supports the unique life you genuinely desire to live. Understanding that fundamental why behind your financial choices, that feels like the crucial first step for you. The step towards building a more fulfilling, more meaningful relationship with your money.
Couldn't have said it better. It all starts with why.
So now, what kind of life are you going to build?